I want to start this video by saying that may the souls of Flight Lieutenant John Abolariwa and Flight Lieutenant Ebiakbo Chapele, may their souls rest in peace. May their souls rest in peace. And may they find eternal rest. It's so sad that Nigeria continues to fail its own. May their families, may God grant their families the fortitude to bear this loss. It's never an easy one. It's so sad the kind of country we have today. It is really sad that the strategy that our Nigerian military needs to defeat the terrorists is not being given to them. It is really sad what is happening in our country today. May their souls rest in peace. First of all, a few days ago, we heard the military saying to us that a jet was missing, a military jet was missing. It has gone off the radar. And that was it. Until the terrorists came out with videos to show that they had taken it down and show us this jet and also the bodies of the pilots. And you know what is most painful? Is that when the terrorists came out and said it, they were believed because they have credibility. They've always passed out information that were factual. Unlike when our own military and our own government will speak, and you know that most of the information, they are not factual. How many times have we seen our own military and our own government recant on the information that they have given? It's really painful that a nation with everything it takes to fight the terrorists is actually being brought to its knees by some low-level ragtag military who have decided to use strategy. It's really sad what is happening. And today we are seeing the terrorists coming again and again and again after our nation, at the territorial integrity of our nation, coming after our military, coming after our soldiers, coming after our nation, our state. And yet we're helpless and just looking because we don't have the right kind of leadership. The commander-in-chief is nowhere to be found when it comes to strategic leadership. The commander-in-chief is nowhere to be found when it comes to motivating and leading his army. The commander-in-chief is nowhere to be found when it comes to ensuring that our nation is way ahead and actually going after the terrorists, fighting this war, attacking them, unlodging them, dislodging them from wherever they are. But what we are rather doing is repelling the attacks or just watching our men and women who are putting everything on the line being killed needlessly. It's sad and it breaks my heart that this is what we have in a nation that have everything that it takes, everything that is needed to go after the terrorists. So now the terrorists are bringing down aircraft. What next are they going to do? What are they going to do for them to be taken serious? Is it when they attack Aso Villa that indeed this government and the commander-in-chief, the presidency, will actually take them seriously and begin to give strategic leadership that will see us winning this war against terrorism? Why have we decided to politicize this whole issue? The issue of security can never be won on the platter of politics. You cannot politicize fight against insecurity. Where is the political will for things to be done right? When the last service chiefs were resigned and were going off, the presidency came out and said that they had done exceptionally well. Exceptionally well in failure, in not winning the war, in allowing ourselves as a nation to be vulnerable. And they went ahead the presidency went ahead to bring them out as non-career ambassadors, to nominate them as non-career ambassadors. And what does that say to the incoming service chiefs? Don't even think of winning this war. Don't do beyond what the failure that have just been removed has done. That's the body language. There's no political will to win this war. There is no pride and patriotism in going after the terror, in defending Nigeria and going after the terrorists. We just have people who seem to be looking the other way while our country is being disseminated. and the buck stops at the table of the president and the commander-in-chief. That is a person that has the mandate to guide our military to the victory that it's all deserving. Do we even think about the families of those who are fighting this war? Every day they send their loved ones out there, not knowing whether they will come back. It's not even just, yes, soldiers sign up for war, but soldiers don't sign up for incompetence. They don't sign up for a commander-in-chief that is incompetent, that doesn't know what is going on. They're absolutely clueless. We are not deserving of what is happening in Nigeria today. This is not what Nigerians should be getting. A nation where terrorists are holding people ransom, a nation where people can't do anything. The reason why we gave up our sovereignty to the state is for protection of lives and property and our welfare to be taken care of. And the government has failed in so many ways. This is not acceptable. We cannot continue to go on in this manner and watch our country being decimated by terrorists and we do nothing. It is not enough to pray. I have said it before and I'll continuously say that God will not do for us what He has given us the capacity for us to do for ourselves. You can't sit down and do nothing and expect that you keep going to your churches and your mosques and things will be solved, or you go to your shrines and all of that and things will be solved. No. We have everything that it takes to go after the terrorists and we aren't doing that. What happens to the intelligence gathering? What happens to soldiers? We're seeing soldiers coming out to strike and going on protest to say that they are not being paid their allowances. Their welfare is not being taken care of. What are we doing about all of these things? We're looking the other way. And every day, life in Nigeria is becoming more nasty, more brutish, and shorter. Every day. The life of a cow, it seems to be more important than the life of a human being. The way Nigerians are being taken out. A few days ago, we saw a jet that crashed and all on board died. Today, now again, we have another one being brought down by terrorists. What does that portend for our nation? Where does that keep us all? What happens to the nation where they had such pride? Our military were amongst the top, if not in the world, surely in Africa. We fought wars for other countries. We liberated other countries. But here we are today, brought down to the knees by some ragtag armies. Just because we have corruption going on. Just because we have lack of political will going on. Just because we have lack of patriotism going on. Just because we want some few people to be in leadership, and that's all. If we continue to look the other way, we are going to be the victims in all of this. Today, another family is crying. Their loved ones have been killed. Their loved ones have been killed. Tomorrow, who is it going to be? And I will end by telling us all that those who have died before will not die again. The next to be killed are those of us who are alive. Who is next? The victim card in Nigeria is going round. And becoming a victim in Nigeria is no longer a matter of if, it is a matter of when. So the question also is, when is it going to be? Yesterday's victims were once survivors. They were happy, they were glad they weren't the ones that were killed. They were happy they survived. They probably did their prayer of joy that they survived. But they became the victims yesterday. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. Yesterday they were happy, they were glad they weren't the victims. They prayed, they did their thanksgiving. But they became today's victims. Tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. Those of us today who are happy we are not the victims, who are doing our thanksgiving and thinking that it's none of our business, when tomorrow, the victims of tomorrow will be from us. The question is, who is next? And until every one of us realize that this country is where we call home. And this country is where every one of us must know that we have a right in this country and we must fight for this country. We must defend this country. We must ensure that the right thing is being done. Until we realize all of that, we are only victims waiting to happen. And I'll always ask, Who is next?